Hi everybody, let's play UFO Alien Invasion. This is a game that is free to download and open source, which means it's made by a bunch of volunteer developers. My name is Nate. I also go by H-Hour, and I am or used to be one of those developers for the game. It's been a couple years since I've been very involved, mostly due to other time commitments. But before I left, I did a lot of work sort of changing and tweaking the weapon stats and the soldier and alien stats, and really trying to bring a bit more tactical diversity to the combat mode of the game. But since I left pretty shortly after doing that, I never really got a chance to do much of the explanation of, what went into the decisions or what kind of new tactical options are available. And we never really did a very good job of onboarding users. Most modern games will walk you through a long introductory sequence that'll teach you all the different strategic choices available to you and that sort of thing. So since we don't have that, I thought instead I would just maybe do a bit of a let's play, and as I play, I'll try and walk through some of the decisions I make on the battlescape. Since I'll mostly be focused on the battlescape, I won't talk too much about base management or any of that sort of stuff. But that tends to be a bit more straightforward part of the game. It's a little bit harder to intuit some of the successful strategies on the battlescape, so hopefully this will help with that. So let's get started. Since this is mostly going to be focused on the tactical battlescape, I'm just going to skip past some of the introductory stuff, and I won't really cover too much about base management or anything like that. I'm just going to kind of jump straight into the soldiers themselves and start talking about how I put together a team. With the new weapon system, sort of each weapon you'll see has a particular skill. This one is sniper. The assault rifle is assault. The riot shotgun is close quarters. And then if you come over here to the grenade launcher, you'll see that is explosives. Now each of these skill sets typically has a very specific function on the battlefield. So I'll want to build a team of soldiers that kind of mix those functions. So I'm going to go through real quick and see if I can figure out who has the right skills for which roles. This guy could be a sniper or a close quarters guy. This looks like definitely a close quarters guy. And I'm just going to mark that for later. Could be just about anything. Good explosives guy. About anything, but actually not very good in anything except explosives, so I'll probably have that as their secondary. Explosives. Good sniper. And not great. I don't seem to have anybody good at assault, which is pretty critical. Oh, this guy's good at assault. The assault guys are typically going to be your Swiss Army knives. They'll be able to help you out in a lot of different situations, whereas the close quarters, the explosives, and the snipers, they all have very particular uses, and they're very powerful in those positions, but outside of them, they're kind of useless. A sniper is not very good at reaction fire or anything like that, very much an offensive player. Whereas the close quarters guy is very much a defensive player. He's great at reaction fire, but not very good in any situation unless you're in a really critical close quarters situation. Okay, so typically what I'll do is, since I want a mixture, I'll often have 2 assault guys, 2 snipers, 2 explosives, and then a CQP guy, and then I'll also have somebody that I basically consider kind of expendable, and he'll be a scout, and I'll equip him lightly so that he has a lot of movement points, and his main role on the battlefield will be kind of reaching places or exposing areas of the map that I can't see early enough to give my other soldiers time to defend themselves and stuff. So they tend to not survive that great, but they keep other soldiers alive really well. So let's just move along here. I'll just give this guy assault as well. And this guy will be my... This will be my other sniper. And this will be my scout. Alright. So my scouts, they just get a nice little assault rifle, an extra attack, and they often will get a lot of grenades because it's quite useful for them. They can often kind of run a long distance and lob a grenade and get within range, which is quite useful. But I want to be careful that I remain under their, up here is their weight limit, and I want to make sure that I'm in green there because that will give them the extra movement points. So since this is working, let's just increase the frag grenades. It must be pretty strong. Yeah, lots of strength, so that's good. In fact, instead of that, I'm going to give her a medikit. Is that? Oh, she doesn't quite have it. No, okay, she can't do that. Because when I give her the medikit, she bumps over her weight limit, which will reduce her to time units. Okay, let's leave her at that for now. I'm going to have to go ahead and buy some stuff probably. Alright, sniper rifle. These guys often do not need that much ammo. So, if I can, I'd like to keep him light. But he's just not quite strong enough. Let's see if my other one's stronger. No, he's not going to be very strong. Yeah, these sniper rifles are quite heavy, so it takes some time before they'll build up enough strength to be able to be a light, fast sniper, which is really useful because you can actually get in 2 shots in a single turn, which is pretty powerful buff there. Since he's already over his limit, I'll go ahead and give him a submachine gun. It might be slightly useful in an emergency situation. I often don't give my snipers armor unless they've sort of proven that they're worth it, and I want to make sure they stay alive. But I'll deal with armor in a little bit. I'm going to need some more of this stuff, so I'm going to hop out real quick and go buy some stuff. Another interesting thing is I haven't really used this interface yet. I haven't played the game with the new design, so there's a lot of things that I haven't quite figured out yet. I'll be learning along with you. Let's get several more of these, a bunch of these. And grenades. This is what I'm going to want a whole bunch of. Okay. And armor. Let's go ahead and buy enough armor for everybody. I don't know if everyone will use it, but... Ooh, there's implants. I didn't realize there are implants. Looks like they're not implemented yet. Yeah, just so everybody knows, I'm using the 2.6 development version, which is the current sort of master build. It's not the stable release, so there's probably going to be some things in here that aren't exactly completed yet. Okay, back to it. We've got one of our snipers is set up. Our CQB guy, good, he's already set up with riot shotgun. Now there's a couple of options early game. The other option being the submachine gun. I don't typically go with the submachine gun because as soon as the aliens start showing up with armor, it becomes pretty useless. It doesn't have the punch to really get through alien armor. So I just kind of stick with shotguns straight from the get-go. I particularly like the really low TU but really powerful in short range situations, which can be good if you have to enter buildings and stuff. Alright. Now my assault guys. These guys really struggle to stay alive, but when you can keep them alive they become really useful late game. You'll notice I'm giving a lot of people smoke grenades. There's still, in a lot of the maps, there's not very much cover, and smoke becomes pretty critical for getting into cover and stuff. So I tend to go through a lot of smoke. Another assault guy. I'm going to give him a medikit, just because at least a couple guys having that can really save some lives in situations. And the explosives, your choice is pretty much whether to go rocket launcher or grenade launcher. I pretty much don't use the rocket launcher much. It's very difficult to target. It often just flies right past the enemy. And the grenade launcher is really great for getting indirect fire into places. It's pretty indispensable, and you'll see how it gets used in the game a lot. Ooh, he's already over his weight limit. Okay. So when you see it goes, I'll put that back on. You'll see the weight up here. It'll actually go to yellow. And that means that he's over his normal encumbrance threshold. When he's weighted down, he loses a lot of TU. So you pretty much never want to overload somebody like that. And over time, her strength will increase, and that'll allow her to carry more. But early game, you're really pushing the limits on your soldiers. Yeah, she's got way more weight allowance, which is nice. That'll push her over. No, wow, yeah. Very good. It's really good for explosives people to have strength, because they tend to need to load up on stuff a lot more than other classes. Okay. That's all I get. And sniper has already been done. And my scout. Cool. Alright. So that's my team. So what I've basically done is I've got 2 snipers, and these guys will help out in long-range offensive situations, which basically means in a lot of cases they're not very useful unless the map kind of has a particular layout that makes them really powerful. But a lot of times they can pull out a shot when nobody else can. I got my CQB guy, this close quarters guy. And he'll really be useful if I have to enter buildings or do things like that. And he'll be the main person keeping the rest of the team safe, because he has a very low TU. So this shotgun, it only takes 8 time units to fire, and it's pretty high damage. but it only works very near. So, you know, around corners, that sort of thing. He'll protect against aliens in those sorts of situations. My assault guys will do pretty much a lot of heavy lifting, as will the explosives guys. The indirect fire from the grenade launchers is pretty important, as you'll see. So there's my team. I'm not going to do anything else that I might normally do. I'll go ahead and start continuous wave laser operations. I'm not really going to hire anybody or anything. I'm just going to move forward to the battles as best I can. So let's do that. Let's get it started. Okay. I have 2 UFOs I can choose to shoot down, so I'll go ahead and take this guy down. Before I do too much, I'm actually going to go in. I'm going to buy another aircraft if I can. Another Stiletto. I might need to build a base, but yeah, I want to get that going because if I'm going to be shooting down guys, I'm also going to need to have aircraft for that. Okay, let's see. Hopefully. Yeah, good. Alright. So we'll send our soldiers out and we'll have our first battle. Oh, and it's on bridge. Good. You can see up on the left, it'll tell you what map is coming up. So over time, you'll learn what the maps are. This is, I think, a particularly good one to show some tactical stuff because it's got some good cover. Alright. The first thing I'll do is go out and try and get a big, high-level overview of the map. I want to make sure I'm looking at all levels. So it looks like this one mostly takes place on the bottom level, although there's this upper level. I don't remember if aliens are up there or not. But that could present a problem. So stuck in here, it looks like I'm kind of in this little container, and that's got me nervous because aliens can come around any of these little entrances, and they're going to be pretty close. All my soldiers are going to be in a pretty rough position, but at the same time, they're not totally exposed here. So I think I'm going to not throw smoke. I'm going to just try and get them out. So let's see what we can do. Alright, so I'm going to take my little expendable scout, and I'm going to want her to get me eyes. So if I move her all the way out here, she's going to be really exposed, and I can't really make much of a move in the first turn, so I'm not going to put her quite in that position. I'm going to see if I can run her over here, at which point she'll be in a good position to kind of pop out and see what's up at the next turn. And just like I like to have a good mix of soldiers on my team, I'm also going to try and split them up into groups where they have a mix of talents as well. So got one assault guy on either side, so one assault guy is going to go to each side and kind of help push forward. Always going to want to make sure I'm putting them into cover whenever possible. Crouched if possible, and make sure they're facing the right direction. So this guy's going to give me some protection in this direction. It's not going to be great. Like I said, if they come through at this point, it's too far for my close range guys. But not too far for them, so I'm pretty at risk here. But I'm going to go ahead and set the 3-round burst just because a snapshot isn't gonna do a lot to somebody that comes through. Sorry. So setting that reaction fire is we'll walk through all that later. It's quite complicated, but it's also pretty critical. So this guy I'm gonna move out. He's got pretty good cover here, and the sight line is pretty long, even if somebody came from around here or here, he'd have a pretty good chance of not getting hit, and even if he does, not getting hit too much if it's something like a needler, although this is too early for that. The sniper's not really going to get to do anything this turn, so I'm just going to kind of move him, start getting him into a position where he might be useful. And I'm going to expose him a little bit right here. It could be a bad idea because he's exposed there, but I want him in position to be able to fire up this line in case anybody comes next turn. Alright, this side kind of sucks over here. I don't really know where to put this guy. He's going to be exposed. It might even be better just to quickly, if he can make it. Yeah, I'm going to run him all the way up here. And he will be exposed from these two lines. If they come through here, I'm pretty screwed. But I don't have a good alternate strategy. So I'm just going to try and get him up to this wall. And that way he's not that exposed from this side. If guys come out either side here, they're going to get hit by a couple of guys. And my close quarters guy, I also need him to get moving. So I'm just going to run him up here, do the same thing. This could be a terrible idea, but oh well. This sniper guy, I think he could be really useful kind of over here on this rise under the bridge. So I'm going to eventually work towards getting him over there. In the meantime, I'm just going to try and keep him relatively safe over here. Again, I'm making a big gamble that nobody's really going to come through. And there's a good chance that they could, but this is a situation where smoke actually might be useful, but it's too late for that now, so we'll just hope everything goes smoothly. Again, this is just a defensive position for this guy. One useful thing to know is, you can kind of use other soldiers as cover too. So in this situation, that explosives guy has a very low chance of getting hit because anything that comes down this way is going to hit that guy instead. I mean, we don't want that guy to get hit either, but better to only hit one rather than two. So since he can't really do much this turn, I'm just going to leave him there. And it's a safe position, a little bit closer to the action. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so luckily no movement happened within sight here, so we're pretty good on that front. That suggests to me that there's nobody in the immediate vicinity, because if so, I feel like they would have advanced on us. So I can feel a little bit more confident kind of pushing forward at this point, trying to expose new lines of fire. Obviously, because this is the first battle in the game, we're not going to see a lot of enemies, and they're going to be pretty easy at this point. But since I'm just trying to demonstrate some of the tactical decisions I'm making, I'm gonna keep moving forward cautiously, or as I would if I were in maybe a later battle where there are more ferocious weapons to deal with. So I'm gonna take my scout again. I'm gonna expose as much terrain as I can with her. There's nobody back there, nobody that way, so that's pretty good. I mean, we're looking pretty secure at this point. Let's see if she can get a good line of sight from up here. I bet so. Yeah. Okay, so we're seeing a civilian all the way over here, but nothing else, which suggests to me that if they're around here, they're behind these little buildings or things. But doesn't seem like there's anybody really that close on this side, which is nice. It means we can kind of start moving our sniper in with some security, or at least the illusion of it. Okay, let's get our these guys moved up. Make sure we're covering our angles. When I go through a room, I'm always going to check the other sides, just in case there's a guy hanging out, you know, somewhere in a corner that I don't see. I'm gonna go ahead and risk it because, again, I feel like if there were guys in here, they would have said hello by now. Okay, so this guy doesn't have enough for reaction fire. In an ideal situation, I would set him up to catch anybody coming through, but I haven't, just because I've taken that risk, and in part because I know it's an early game and there aren't going to be that many guys to take down. Alright, let's move our other team up. I'd love it if he could make it to that next bit of cover. Looking at the angle here, an alien would have to come around and come left. That just means a bit of extra time units. It doesn't mean it's not possible, but since I'm assuming they're not in this immediate area, that means they'd have to walk all the way over and then make that extra bit. So I'm going to guess that he's reasonably safe right here and hope that I'm right. And this guy is now in a pretty good position. Ooh, I've got a spotted enemy all the way over here. Okay, yeah, so not a threat. That's a blood spider. It doesn't have a ranged weapon, so it'll be a long time before we have to deal with him. Just going to try and get him up to the action a bit closer again. Okay, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, looks like we've got a Tommen. I just saw him briefly, but it looked like he had a sword, so that suggests he doesn't have a ranged weapon, which means this could be a pretty simple little mission here, if we've only got those guys, but still going to be reasonably cautious because I don't want to be stupid about it. I'm going to use this sniper as a scout just real quick, because he's not particularly useful right at this moment. So I'm just going to see if you can spot anything there. I can't, so I'm just going to tuck him right there. And hopefully nothing will come out there. Again, it's a risk, but I'm taking it just to kind of move things along. I probably wouldn't be taking these kinds of risks later in the game when there's a lot more aliens to confront, or the aliens you are confronting are a whole lot more deadly. But that's the luxury at the beginning of the game. Probably that was too much of a risk, especially if there's one guy over there wandering around with a gun. Those guys are kind of at risk, although at this stage of the game they're only going to have pistols, which are pretty inaccurate. Okay, that's probably my blood spider again. Here's round burst, you never know. That looks like a really nice position for him. A bit on a hill. It looks like it's down the hill a bit. Not too much. He should still have about as good a sightline as he can get. So he can't really do anything this turn, but he'll at least see stuff. Hopefully not get killed. Okay, so these two are pretty exposed, and they're basically out here to try and get as good a sight as possible on the surrounding area. I want to get this scout in here if I can, just in case there's any aliens hanging out there. I want to know before I move all my other guys over to focus on this area. Still not much movement. I suspect there are not very many guys in here. In fact, it may just be 3, I think, is the minimum number that will come up. So we'll see. But that means just to move this along, I'm going to move guys real quick now. It's not necessarily something I would encourage most of the time, but in this case, it'll be alright. Again, so I'm taking reaction fire off on this guy, even though, you know, he might be getting close enough for that to be meaningful, because I'd rather just get him a bit closer within range. So I'm putting him in a pretty safe spot here. He's got decent cover. In fact, I'm going to move him back this one for a bit more cover. So the aliens would really have to move a long way to get a shot on him, but it just gets him into the action a bit closer for next turn. See what she can do. Okay, this guy's still got his sword, right? Yeah, okay. He's got a sword, not a pistol, so that means he's not going to have a ranged weapon. He may have grenades, though, so it's not completely out of the picture. Looks reasonably safe, so I'm just going to hope for the best and stick her right there. But now I feel much more confident about this area. I don't have to worry about my sniper, who's right here. So I feel pretty confident that I'm safe on this direction, that I can really focus on swarming in on this area. In fact, since I know that, I'm going to go ahead and move him all the way over here. Next turn, I want him to be able to fire up this channel, because I think there'll be a lot more exposure there than trying to fire over these buildings. So you can see with my scout, I've been able to really get pretty far ahead, while keeping her not terribly exposed. That just means that I get all sorts of benefits, like I can pop out here, and I can see that guy. So I have a good sense now of that guy could easily be targeted by this sniper if I come around. That kind of intel is really useful, especially if he exposed somebody that was right here. I'd know this guy was in real danger, and I need to get him out or find another solution. Fortunately, it doesn't look like I'll be able to put fire on him this turn. So instead, I'm just going to put him as much in position as I can, so that next turn he can just pop out and do his business. Now that I'm getting in range, I'm not going to be jumping forward quite as much. I just want to get these guys into good defensive positions, and then make sure that they are, they've got their reaction fire enabled so that they're useful if they see stuff. This guy's still too far out though, so with him I'm going to run. Oh, that's far. Well, we'll see. I'll be a bit more cautious. I'll just move him here. This guy doesn't really need, he can't do reaction fire, so I'm never really looking to put him in an overwatch position or anything like that. I just want to get him close enough within range so that he can pop out and fire some rounds. That pillar's in a bad position for that house, so I can't really see down that sight line now. Okay. In that case, I think it's better just to start moving him towards this bottom position. I'll be able to affect something from over there, maybe. So, you might have noticed, I assume that most people watching this will have played it before and are playing it kind of to pick up some strategy stuff. But if you haven't, you'll notice that so far there hasn't really been a lot of action. This game's very much more of a slow, tense builder kind of thing. You really gotta spend some time moving your guys into position in order to pull off stuff without getting killed. If I was just running willy-nilly with my guys out in the open, it would not be long before they were all dead, and keeping them alive is really key for later in the game. I mean, you'll always lose soldiers. This is not a game where you have one team and you're going to keep them all alive. You'll never be able to keep all of them alive, but if you can minimize your losses to kind of 1, 2 mission average, then that'll be pretty good, especially if you're being strategic about your losses, which might be something that we get into later on, depending on how far I take this. Okay, let's just see. Another pillar in the way there. It's just got a knife, so I don't have to worry about him. I don't have to worry about him shooting me. I just need to stay out of range of him walking. So I'm gonna be a bit reckless there. I haven't seen a single other one, and by now, probably moving around, I would have seen if there was another Tommen or something walking around. So I feel like pretty confident that I'm not facing any ranged weaponry here. So this is about as simple a battle as you can get, really. How much did this cost? Minimum 12, but I'm at 14, so I'm just going to leave him for now. Next turn, hopefully he'll be able to put some fire on. This guy needs to get in range as quick as possible. A terrible idea. Just gonna move him here instead. See if I can. Not quite. So, but I can move him out to there. So I've got 23 time units left. You can see that right here. And the 3-round burst costs 12. So I wouldn't be able to get in 2 shots. So instead I'm just going to go ahead and try full auto. I have to take off reaction fire first. See if I can. Pretty low chances. This is a long, especially for early in the game. I wouldn't expect him to do that well, but I'm going to go ahead and try it out. Yeah, I got nothing out of that, so. Just going to move him a little bit into a safer position. And it's safer just because the line between these 2 guys is now blocked. Again, I guess it doesn't actually matter because he doesn't have a ranged weapon. I'm so used to it, expecting them to have ranged weapons, but if it was, it would just mean that he was forced to move quite a bit to get a shot on him, and hopefully I'll have some guys in Overwatch that can defend against that, if that were the case. That's disappointing. You'll find the aliens are very good at not staying in these channels. When you kind of corner them, they'll know that they're exposed and move. I don't know if that's actually in the AI or not, but they seem to be pretty good at that. So I'm just going to kind of keep moving her in, see if she can get any decent sight on these guys. I'm just going to leave him here. I don't want to move him in any closer, but if the aliens do wander into that area, he'll have a shot. What else have I got? Yeah, all these guys. Both of my grenade launchers guys are ending up in roughly the same place. You'll find that tends to happen a lot as you learn sort of the strengths and weaknesses of each unit, because they tend to have similar distances at which they're effective and kinds of cover that are useful to them and all that sort of thing. Does he have a shot? He may have a shot. Oh, he doesn't have the TUs though. Okay. Again, if he had ranged weapons, this would be a terribly stupid move, but since he doesn't, and I don't think there are any in play, I'm just going to put him in a position to be able to fire a bit better next turn. Hopefully. The aliens are actually pretty good at moving to thwart your plans in that regard. They'll constantly seek out little pockets that you don't have fire on, so that's quite nice actually. Okay, so again, still haven't really employed much reaction fire. For now, I'm really just focused on nailing this guy. Let's see how far he can walk. Can he walk far enough? Oh shit, he can. Okay. Yeah. Bad idea. That's where reaction fire would have been very good, because he wouldn't have been able to walk all that way if I had somebody with eyes on him during that period. But lesson learned. Let's just kill this guy. Alright, so now I'd like to use this explosives guy to take out these blood spiders if I can find them. Alright, I think there might just be one. Let's see right here. Okay, it's right there. So that now I know this guy's within range. If I just do Let's hope he doesn't hit the bottom of the... Get him? No, it looks like I hurt him but didn't kill him, so it's alright. I'll just move him back up. Now, a bit nervous because that guy could probably get here. That blood spider could get this guy now, so I need to either kill him this turn or make sure that I've got good reaction fire set up. Okay, let's try this. This might be a bad idea, but it's good to experiment early on. He's got a very low reaction fire time unit cost. It's only 8, so that means that this guy only has to move 4 grid spaces for him to get off a shot. Now, if he moves away, that's going to be too far, but if he moves towards us, he might be within range of that shot. So, hopefully, or I'm just getting him killed. One of the two. Okay, great. And now I've got this guy as well. He's got a 8 TU snapshot. So if this guy comes towards me, I should get 2 shots on him. Although he might actually not have a... Let's see. Yeah, so it's going to be real close. If he walks that way, my guy won't fire because he won't have a shot. But if he walks this way, he will. So this is one of the quirks of the game. You just got to work around. Okay. Let's see how this goes. That could be 1 extra shot on him, but he'll have to move an extra couple of grid spaces, but it's just a little bit more reinforcement there. This looks like a better place for him to be, so I'm going to move him over there. Might as well put her on snapshot. Maybe she'll get something. And we'll see how we do. If I lose another guy, I'm going to be super disappointed. Yeah, so I don't know if you caught it there, but those little boxes that were on the left, they're tracking the reaction fire as the alien moves. Once it builds up, they'll fire, but you saw one guy in red, it said aborting fire. So what that meant was, for one reason or another, he decided that the shot wasn't worth taking. And typically that means that it's not, he doesn't have a high enough percentage of hitting the target. In this case, because the target moved off this way, I would bet that he was blocked by this, and that's why he aborted the fire. So it can be a bit confusing. We don't do a good job of explaining that, but you know, as I said, we don't really do onboarding with this game. That's just one of the prices of that. Okay. I'm getting a little tired of chasing this guy down now, so I'm gonna see if I can track him down. This guy. Okay. Let's see. Maybe I can put another. A little bit of a far shot for him, but I'm going to go ahead and do the timer one and we'll see how he does. Trick is figuring out how to sort of fire it so it's technically within range. There we go. Oh, there we go. Just barely got him. That's great. That's how the indirect fire really comes in handy. Sometimes those aliens are just finding all these little pockets and you can't quite get around on them. But bouncing a grenade around is really useful. Okay, so it's kind of pathetic that I lost this soldier, but not a great example of trying to show you how to do things, but it worked, I guess. So I'm going to call it for this one, but I'll try and do some more episodes. I might skip ahead to later missions so that you get a better sense of kind of how to do movement and survival on some particular maps, or in cases where you're dealing with a lot of aliens or things like that. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. As always, you can check out the website at ufoai.org. And thanks to the guys that are still doing a lot of work on this. I really haven't done much in a long time, but there's still a lot of commits happening and work going on. That's really great to see. See you next time.